Yeah. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the morning report. If you missed the pre-report, then sorry about that. You need to show up a little sooner and talked a little bit about different stuff. So let's just stay with what we do here. On the morning report, we'll talk a little bit about what's going on in earth science. So, right on. Let's look at it right now. Solar wind right now is 355. Proton density is at just under 1. We've had an M1 and an M3 flare in the last 24 hours. Let's go ahead and check those out. Here's the X that we had, and then here's the M, was that M2 right there? And then this is an M2, and then there's an M1. So we did have an X yesterday, early on, and we kind of looked at that. We should be having an update from NOAA's predictive analytics. Let's go ahead and check that out. So they said they're saying between the 9th and the 10th now, which is today and tomorrow, versus what they said prior, 8th and the 9th. Having plasma from this big old blast that took place. You can see this is solar wind, this is plasma, and then more solar wind coming up by the 12th and the 13th, starting to rise up. You can see the blast, 2 of them popping off, tsunamis that should hit us here today and tomorrow. And right now the KP index is well below 2, so it's not even hitting us. It's kind of like a tsunami. When a tsunami's coming in, it sucks out all the water before it, and then it pushes it up on land. That's kind of what's happening here with the solar wind. Oh, I'm sorry. The solar wind being where it's at 366. Now we can look at what's happening on the magnetopause here. You can see it's way out here. There's no dynamic pressure. Standoff distance is 17, 18, even in the 20s, and solar wind just non-existent. We can look at this one here, and you can see there was some protons coming in, and then this thing will basically turn white. Like, see that? Yeah, it turns white. So we'll see the uptick in protons coming in per cubic centimeter, and then the solar wind will come in, and you can see that was just a switch, right? And there should be kicking up a little bit, and that's probably, we're seeing the beginning effects of it. So current is 369. Protons are at 2. The BZ is a little bit in the south, not too much. Standoff is about 13. So when this gets down to 10, it gets down into between 10 and 5. Generally, a really strong solar wind's like 8, right? Almost to the point to where it's getting the satellites. I don't know that we'll get that, but the prediction is to have a pretty strong, maybe about 16, right there, maybe about 16 to 17 protons per cubic centimeter, and the wind should get up about 600. I mean, it will just like all of a sudden turn on, and right now it's really low. It's actually lower than what they're predicting here. They're predicting it at a little over 400 before it hits, but it's not there yet. And then bang, it'll just happen. I don't know what the projected time frame that is, but definitely. And this is the current status of X flares or M flares. C flares. Right now we're at a C2, so it's really not a whole lot of activity there. And so on space weather, that's what we're going to be watching. It's supposed to get up to a G3. All right? That's the possibility. But because it was a full halo, it was directed right at us. We are expecting it, you know. 94 to 96 still has beta gamma delta magnetic fields harboring energy for X flares. You know, here we are basically here. It's cutting quiet on the disk, right? Except for this stuff. And if this stuff decides it wants to launch, it'll launch a pretty good size one. Yeah. So, in what was it, 99? That's what kicked off the first X, about a week ago. Surprised everybody. And it didn't affect us, but when this kicked off, it did. KP well below 2, or well below 3. There is a coronal hole in the north. This will catch up some wind north of us because we're kind of like just below south. And this will put up some stream of solar wind that will probably get to us in about 3 days. And as we move on, 65% chance for an M, 15 for an X. 2,349 potentially hazardous asteroids out there. That's potentially hazardous. There's 2,000 of them they're watching, or 2,300 they're watching. But there's also other rocks and stuff that they watch as well that are within an area where we show concern. That's within 5 million miles of Earth. Not of the sun, but of Earth. And today, being the 9th, there are no rocks known in our vicinity. Tomorrow there will be, but not today. Yesterday and tomorrow. So, and the largest of these will happen on December 15th, which will be about, 750 foot across. Yeah, wouldn't you want that sucker to come by? Yeah, it'll be about 2 million miles away. So, there you have it. And we've already looked at some of the solar stuff. There's a little bit of a launch right there. That one looked like it came at us too, so. It might not have been. That might have been away from us. I don't know. It came out of the north. Here's the Lascaux 3, as we see Venus here, or Merc. Pretty good little Paparini right there. It's going north. That might have came out of that M2 or M4. But then again, it's hard to tell with 2D which way it's going. Looking at planet positions. So we'll see what that one is. Probably Venus that we were looking at. In the Lascaux right there. There's another planet down there. Maybe Mars, a distance. But this one here, probably Venus. And you can see Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune out there. It's hard to see Saturn, depending on your angle of visual. Looking at the tremors, there were no tremors yesterday. And it's a downward trend on the tremors. Kind of odd. Looking at the buoys today. Yesterday we had buoys that are activated up in the north. You can see 5, 6 buoys activated in the north from that Japan earthquake. I don't know if let me look real quick. Damage. I think there was a little bit of damage, but I'm not too sure. I saw some, but I didn't. There were very few injuries, causing significant damage and injuries, though no fatalities on December 9th, which is understandable. 30 people were injured by falling objects, toppled structures in Amore, damaged hotels and cars, damage on highways. Small water leak occurred in a nuclear fuel processing plant in Amore, but it was contained and deemed safe. Power outages affected thousands of households, 2,700 homes in Amore and 800 in Iwate lost electricity. High-speed rail services were suspended from Fukushima to Amore, Amore is in the north. Tsunami waves of up to 27 inches were recorded in Kuji Port in Iwate, and smaller waves observed in Amore and Hokkaido. So they dodged a bullet, in essence. So they were expecting up to 9 foot. Japan's meteorological agency issued a megaquake advisory warning the probability of major earthquake along Japan's trench is now higher than normal, though it's still estimated about 1% chance. But it is increased. So they're very well aware of that. And in our morning report yesterday, we talked a little bit about that as well. That the likelihood of getting a much larger earthquake in this region is much higher. So here's Hokkaido. Amori's like right up in here. This region right here looks like, because this is where most of the 8s happen. And we do get a couple 8s here and then in this trench. But this region here, generally speaking, gets rocked pretty good. What else in there? Anyway, so that's why the buoys are bouncing, of course. Interesting that the buoys that go all the way out here to the Great Sitkin area, which is erupting and still putting out magma flow, not a heavy flow, but definitely a magma flow. And then all the way down, off of the trench down here, that each one of these picked it up. So they're sensitive enough for that to happen. I don't know that they actually felt the shaking, but they picked it up because of the buoys are attached to the floor. I don't know if any significant wave heights were taking place. And you can see they kicked it up between the high tide, low tide. So 4-hour window, you can see it picked it up. So it wasn't big tsunami. Okay, so that's okay. Volcano news. Let's see what's going on. Volcano news. All right. Worldwide volcano news updates from Volcano Discovery. Today, December 9th, 2025. In the news is Santa Guido, Fuego, Popo, Simiru, Ibu, Dacono, Reventator, and Sangay. I was watching Santa Guido. It is erupting just kind of like boom, boom, boom. Not a whole lot, but you can see it on YouTube. I constantly peruse those kind of videos to see what's going on volcanically. Also, people are starting to watch Iceland now due to an earthquake over there, and it hasn't erupted as of yet, but it's predicted to. Let me see if I can quickly find. What's going on here? See if it's the boys. What the hell? It's probably Luke. Yep. It's Luke. He's working. What else? Popo, just a little tiny pop out of Popo in Mexico City. Purest volcano up there in Colombia, just south of Nevada del Ruiz, popping off a little bit again. Small. Sangay is small as well, probably about 1,500 foot. Ibu over here in Halamarahara, 6,000 foot, so that's 4,600 going to 6,000, not a whole lot. Molucca Sea is in the middle. Dacono, Ibu, Dacono, both have been active. Philippines is just north, so there's still a lot of pressure. Watching how both of those volcanoes over this entire year have just been consistently popping harsh or hard, anywhere from 26,000 feet all the way down to 1,000 feet, depending on how much activity. The more activity I see in PNG, Indonesia, and the other PNG next to it, when I see a lot of activity there, I see a lot of activity happening in Indonesian waters. I see Ibu and Dacono both banging hard. A couple of other volcanoes on the other side of the Molucca Sea are still erupting as well. So the region is consistently active. It's not like it's stopping anytime soon. Fuego, there in Guatemala City, 15,000, that's its normal. When it goes below or up, I kind of take notice. I go, what's going on over there? Fuego is Fire Mountain, and it's consistently been erupting for a very long time. We can even look at it here. Since 1581. The ongoing eruption process that's been happening since 2002. So since 2002, it's been erupting daily, a couple of thousand feet, and just a growing mountain. It's 12,003, and it's growing. Like Simiru, it's 12,003 growing. Like Santa Guido, 12,003 and growing. Interesting how they're all 12,003. I always take kind of note to that. Here's Santa Guido popping at 14,000 out of 12,003. Reventador, a little about over 11,000 in Ecuador, 11,006. And Purus is up here, Nevada del Ruiz. Sangay is down here. What's interesting is this is the volcanic arc with a lot of volcanoes, but it's behind the arc, Reventador and Sangay, that are both erupting. Find that very interesting. Maybe the volcanic arc is moving inland. I don't know, but I'd like to know why that's happening, and if anybody has knowledge of an article or something, that'd be interesting to take note of. There's Ibu again, 6,000. Purest volcano, it's still erupting small. Today also, White Island alert level is returned to level 2. So the eruptive process in the Catcher's Mitt of New Zealand, the northern island, has diminished significantly for them to downgrade the alert level again. Simiru, 15,000, that's as normal. Simiru is the tallest mountain in Java, and it might be in all of Indonesia. And it is a very dangerous volcano where I make light of it quite a bit, but because it's always erupting. It launched pyroclastic flows here last week or the week before, damaging a lot of housing and stuff, and we saw videos of those. Sabancaya, the armpit of South America. Very tall mountain, puffing at 21,000. I think it's 19 and change. Yeah, 19.5. It's not the tallest of the volcanoes, but it is. There's a volcano next to it. It's like in the 20s. But Sabancaya is the most eastward volcano in that little conglomerate, and it is erupting very small, but still the same. And it's in a kind of a remote area, to tell you the truth, in South America. Dacono, there in Halmahera, Ibu Dacono pumping at 7,000. Dacono's like 38, 36,000 going, all right, 3,800, 3,600 going to 7. So it's doubled its size. Dacono seems to be the one that's growing more rapidly than Ibu, and because of the larger explosive events. And the mountains are only like less than 50 miles apart. So, you can live in the middle, but watching both ends of this world just explode. And it's like, what? And it's not quiet living next to a volcano. Fuego, 14, you can see that. Spots between 14 and 16 regularly. Sakurajima volcano, 9,000 feet at a, now that's significant there. Let's go to GE here. Open up the volcanoes. All right, scrolling all the way over to Japan. Down here is Sakurajima. Sakurajima volcano. It's a 3,600 foot, and it's popping to 9,000. When Sakurajima goes off, then you have to look at the Nankai Trough. And the Nankai Trough is right out here. From right about here all the way up to here, this line. A, B, C, D, E. All right? This is also thought of being part of it, but the plate boundary kind of robs it, kind of comes right through here, just north of Fuji. But this on the bottom of the Nankai Trough, Tsunozajima is out here, and it's 2,600 foot right out here. They don't really mention it a lot, but it erupts quite a bit. But this Sakurajima is in the Aria caldera, which is an ancient volcano. And Sakurajima does erupt quite often. And I want to say in the 1940s, changed it from being an island until part of the mainland because magma filled in over here. So it's no longer an island. And, about 2.7 million people live around it. So it's a pretty dangerous volcano. Up here, Mount Kirishima is still erupting as well. It's a volcanic complex of many volcanoes, but Mount Kirishima. And related to this one and connected. And then you'll see other volcanoes up this way. And then as we get up into the central part of Japan, there's a ton of volcanoes. And the plate boundary works right through here. The North American plate, Eurasian plate. Yeah. And you can see all the volcanoes that rise all the way up into Russia. But here's the earthquake we had yesterday, 7.6, and you can see 8s out here in the dates of those. 1968, 2003, 1952. And this quake here, it's rare, but it does happen in high sevens. But the 8s are closer to the trench. So being aware of that. Santa Guido, we already talked about. And that's it on your volcanic news. Looking at the EMC, the European Meteorological Science Center, I guess. I just made it up. It's a nonprofit NGO comprised of more than 70 members and institutes around the world. Yeah. And, yeah. So looking at what's going on, earthquakes, and move this over so you can see. As I scroll down, you'll see it kind of bop up and around. 5.0 in Iceland. And I go about 12 hours to show you what's happened the last 12 hours. So Kermitics down north of New Zealand had a 5.0. Eastern New Guinea, 4.9. You'll see it right there near the Bismarck. Kansas had a 3.7. Interesting there. Myanmar got a 4. I just hiccuped. Yeah, got air in my belly, I guess. Had a 4.0. Nicaragua had a 4 as well. Rat Islands produces a 5. Interesting. Japan's earthquake here. A back pressure happening down there in the rat's tail. Rat Island. Interesting there. See a nice line of earthquakes. Yeah. Pressure's moving through. Near the coast of southern Peru popped with a 4.4. Hokkaido again came in with a 4 right after. 40 kilometers in depth. Wyoming said hello with a 3. Hokkaido again with a 4.6. Oaxaca said hello with a 4.1. It's southern Mexico. Antofagasta, Chile had a 4.3, so pressure moving down there. It looks like we got Caracas. Trinidad, Tobago, 3.6. Right down here. And Caracas is over here. There are some, California earthquakes, San Francisco Bay Area, and also Southern Cal. We'll look at those on the USGS. Terrain close all day. There we go. So you can see a concentration of what earthquakes you hear. Riverside, Redlands has a small 1.6. You can see right here, right next to it. There's the 3.1 of Borrego Springs. And there's a 2.1 in Anza. Then there's a small one in Chatsworth, and then a small one in Santa Paula. Then you see a few through Searless Valley up there, Ridgecrest. We see a couple moving through Coalinga. Also along the coast. Interesting there, eh? These quakes here that are moving directly through the Calaveras Fault. You can see San Ramon, very, very, very busy again. And I don't know why. Let's take a look at what could be in the area on GE. Don't think they're drilling. Yeah. There's a lot of something here. But What could it be? A water treatment, artificial lake. I don't see anything of note. Looks like a nice area, to tell the truth. So why is it quaking? Well, it's quaking because it's right here. All right, so here's Dublin down here. Right here is San Ramon. Pleasanton Fault, the Calaveras Fault meet right here and continue down the Franklin Fault, also the Concord. The Hayward Fault is adjacent, and they both come down and meet down here, and the Calaveras Fault just continues all the way to the Piscines Fault, which hits the San Andreas. So both of them are splays off the San Andreas, and they're very long. They can produce very, very, very large earthquakes. And in the history, they've produced quite a bit. Down here in Hollister or Gilroy area, major faults have happened. Also here, and the Verdugas, or I'm sorry, not Verduga, but Vergalis Fault, and San Juan Bautista area. And if we looked at here in the earthquakes, we zoom out and zoom down, you'll see this is the San Juan Bautista area. Nothing's happening today, which is great. The Gilroy area, Morgan Hill, San Felipe, nothing happening there, which is great. Just a few little slips along the San Andreas, which moves itself all the way down. We're seeing some activity on the coastal ranges that's being pushed up. Some stuff on the interior up by Avenel and the like. White Wolf Fault has a small one as well. Quiet along the Garlock, which is good. We don't need it to be active. So there you have it. The Nides region had a little 3. The Azores pumping with a 2.0. Offshore Salvador has a 3.4. Hindu Kush region of Afghanistan, 4.5. That's way up here. That should tell you pressure has moved through Java, through Sumatra, up and over India, through the mountains, and now pressure is accumulated there and it has broke. This is a 5.2 in Indonesia off of the northern end of Sumatra. This is an area where I think is a high likelihood of a major earthquake taking place in very short season. We do have now on this side, we have a 7.6. We have a 7.6 here, and we have a 7.6 here. There's 3 7.6s inside of a year, or a year, a little bit over a year, and Indonesia is yet to respond. The likelihood of responding is very high. So Sumatra is on a chopping block with Java, but more Sumatra, in my opinion. And we continue. Southern Yukon Territory 4.0. The video that we are going to watch today, and just kind of listen to it while you're doing something. It is kind of monodrone. You might go to sleep. I did. The material in it talks about the ancient Yukon, BC land. And I don't know, according to what this guy's got, I don't know how Baja to BC even fits in. And he doesn't approach it as far as I watched, about 2/3 of it. And so it's interesting that Nick brought that in there as some clarity. Southern Yukon Territory 4.0. We've been watching those. Far as I can tell, that Yukon earthquake should have been larger. But, hey, whatever. Antofagasta, Chile 4.0. Veracruz, Mexico 3.7. Got some activity down in Mexico. We also have up in the Delta a 3.3. South of Java, still kind of moving quite a bit with the triple junction down there with a 3.8. Southern Alaska, a little 3.7. Again, that's in that area of the Yukon quake. Querétaro, Mexico, 3.4. Where the hell is that? Oh, right up in here. So the Sierra Madre Occidental on that side, I believe it's the Sierra Madre. I can verify that. Right up in here. So earthquake happened right up in this region. I don't know if that's a Cerro La Jolla. Way up there. Yeah. But, so this Potosi, right? I think it's in Potosi. Hokkaido, Japan, popped with a 5.1 6 hours ago. Oh my gosh. That's another one right in that area. .8 Hokkaido right after there. 30 kilometers in depth. Hokkaido's 5.1 was a 60. Getting a little more shallow. Maybe it's coming up toward the trench there. Baja California with a 3.2 again. Where is this one? Yeah, up in the Delta. San Felipe crack. Indonesia, a deep 163 4.1 in down here. Honshu, Japan, off the coast had a 4.5. So moving toward the trench, that trend of moving away from the land toward the trench is still happening, which kind of leads me to think that it's not done. And then Iceland has a 5.0, and we'll have to do some research on that. It's offshore. Generally speaking, before the eruption process happens here, we do see, along the Rick James. I know it's how I say it. Don't worry about it. Rick James or whatever. Bear with it. And we do normally see some activity offshore before the eruptive process happens on the Iceland proper itself. But you're seeing a nice arc of right through here, aren't you? Mm-hmm. Yeah, anyway. And that was like 5 hours ago. Myanmar had another 3.9. Honshu, another 3. Southwestern Siberia, Russia had a 4.6. That's up Lake Baikal area. Generally speaking, if we see something, it does move up and around. We'll see something through the stands here shortly. What the hell? We're pretty close anyway. Fiji comes in with a shallow 40 depth 4.9. Fiji can do very, very, very large. That's not even Fiji. That's Vanuatu. 4.7 Santa Cruz Islands. Why did they say Fiji? South Fiji Islands. What? All right. Well, it wasn't on it. It's over by Tonga. Never made the map, I guess. But pretty crazy. Gulf of California had another 3.3. Pretty crazy there. Mindanao, Philippines, the southern Philippines had a 4.3. And 4.7 in Santa Cruz Islands. So Fiji and Santa Cruz just both popped. The Santa Cruz was 61 depth. Timor happened a little small too after that. El Salvador had a 3.4 offshore. Taiwan says hello with a 4.7. 4.7 East Pacific rise down here by Easter Island. So there seems to be some pressure moving north. Eastern Turkey, 4.7, 15 depth. Coming right out of there, huh? Skip the stands. That's wild. Offshore Jalisco, a 4.0. Mexico. That's pretty close to Puerto Vallarta. Oh, man. I would like it that my dad wouldn't go down there, but whatever. Southern Java 4.0. It has been more active in the southern portion. Tanimbar region of Indonesia 4.0. That's a little bit inland of it. And you see Sumatra's got a little dinger too. 2.8, but still. Tanimbar over here. And we're about an hour out. And that was a deep 164 Tanimbar 4.0. Honshu near the east coast again, 50 kilometers in depth. I don't know that it's staying pretty deep still, but it's moving toward the trench. Had another 3.0. Mindanao in the southern Philippines, a deep 96 kilometers, 3.2. And then Thailand had a 3.5. And it was only 1 kilometer depth. Pretty crazy there. And Finland, a little small, 1 basically at shallow depth. Dub Diesel off the coast of Oregon had a 4. I didn't see. Chat was talking away. rules today in chat. Yeah, they run it for sure. Nice to see you, Equation Dude. Nice to see you, Faith. I wasn't watching chat. I was watching the other, just so I'm trying to get caught up. Looks great. Gas stove, nice. It's going to be a good laundry room today. Well, yeah, I think laundry here too. Yeah. Glad to be back in position to do so. Yeah, I am very happy for you, regardless, Vampy. Very, very, very happy. Spending time with your babies is a huge deal in how it affects them. Prioritize, and happy for you that you're enabled to do that. Yeah, you did. And yeah. Calmness is missing today. I don't know. I would say good morning to Timmy, to Walleye King, to Susan, to Dude, to Ramblin' Wreck, Vampy, Canuck, Lake Girl, Denise in the UK, Simply Sue made it here too. Love and embrace her. Being so late in the morning, late in the night, really, near 1 o'clock. Flutter Girl, Faith, and Dub Diesel in the AZ, of course. And Kronk across the street, and San Diego Dan, who's probably just sleeping. Going through European or Amtrak, Second Crime or Ghetto. Look like an apocalypse movie. Western Zing Zang just popped, eh? Yeah, 4.2. And Mutual Com Mexico popped with a 4. So here's I didn't see the off-coast 4.1 that happened 38 minutes ago. I just got distracted, I guess. Let's go ahead and check that out. Yeah, on a Blanco fracture zone. And we'll see if there's any vibrations tomorrow as a result of this. Lots of talk about axial seamount and it creating tsunamis and all of that stuff. We just don't know. But we do have this little thing happening up here, Redwood Valley. Calaveras Fault moving toward the San Andreas. We do have a funny little earthquake out here off Petrolia 2.2. And then Hayfork 2.2. But the San Andreas along the Calaveras Fault is very, very, very active. We also have the Hayward Fault had a 2.9. And so we're watching the San Jacinto and they're like, all we can do is watch, you know. Well, I appreciate you all being here as we have done this. It's 8:52. I don't know that more is going on than what's going on around the world. I know it's cold. You know. And yeah, president, yeah. I don't know if I want to touch any other stuff. All we know is Zelensky rejects giving Russia any land, and I kind of agree with him. Peace efforts. In Israel, Israel striking Hezbollah training grounds. And President Trump is saying the pushback on tariffs is due to evil forces or dark forces, and I think that's the influence of other nations as well as those who are getting bought and paid for in our country. So Trump on NATO says, they call me daddy. That's what's out of my front porch. And Trump is your daddy. That's hilarious. Taliban may have set up a former Afghan intel officer. Probably. The UN is European. Oh my God, the UN is actually thinking on abolishing the veto vote. Yeah, boy, that's gonna bring a bunch of crap, isn't it? We have a couple of days before the Fed decides to cut rates. Again, hopefully they do. The current rate to have a 30-year mortgage is about 6.36. It's up just a barely little bit. On a $200,000 house at 636 is about $1,200 a month, which isn't bad. If you can afford it, that's where I would suggest you do it. Just in time for a G3 and a G4 storm. Yeah, Vampy. If they cut rates again, I don't know that in your area you can find a house of 200,000. I just don't know where exactly you live. Very hard to find anything that's not in a bullshit area. I mean, I looked all over the place, and where we got is way more than we want to spend. We're spending about $1,500. That's just a mortgage, and $1,600 mortgage, and then you have insurance and taxes on top of it. But it's cheaper than renting. You know, renting's $2,300. This house in Cali would rent for about $3,600 to $4,000 a month. And I don't know what it is in your area, Vampy, because I know you live in a smaller rural area. For a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. Calmness is back. I was just about to play a song for her to wake her up. Yeah, it's down payment. What is it? The median house price in Cali, $800,000. Yeah. While in Arizona is about 400,000. Half as much. Got down to minus 27 Celsius. Yeah, we were 27 degrees or 37 degrees here this morning. Yeah. It was chilly, but it wasn't so bad. It was clear. It's beautiful out there right now. Staying in the sun is pretty cool. But anyway, 8:58 in this thing. Anything else I can add for you? Got down to minus. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. People walking around. I just have to verify it ain't grandma getting out. Oh, come on. Nope, it's my wife. All right, good. She's taking care of mama. My gosh. My mother-in-law had a strange stroke the other day. She's up and about, it looks like. Oh, man. And yeah. But stay tuned for the video here I'll put on for you. Again, it's chock full of great information with what's happening with Professor Nick. I call him Professor Nick, but what's happening with Nick. So, let's see. Where is it? Right here.
Adapt.
So enjoy, everybody.
Okay, well, thanks, Sarah, for inviting me to the seminar. I've been trying to attend some of those, but until, as Sarah mentioned in email, I just recently retired from the survey. Until this past summer, sometime too often my job got in the way of actually attending seminars like this. So I've been more